Recorded Books presents The Klansman's Son, My Journey from White Nationalism to Antiracism by R. Derek Black. Narrated by the author. Dedication. Alessoni quae postes numquam parentibus qui me victurum voluerant rosae quae me ad saltandum invitavit Marco qui mecum cibum cepit Elishae qui patri gaudium fecit Matteo qui antia hoc dicere debui Eli cuius historia etiam narranda est omnibus qui me foentes mutaverunt dono dedi. Time said, "You must transform to survive." We said, "Not over our dead body." What can we call a country that destroys itself just because it can? A nation that would char rather than change. Our only word for this is home. Amanda Gorman. Prologue. The Ginny Jones Show. My decade of political activism on behalf of white nationalism began in October 1999 when I was 10. I gave my first public interview to the salacious daytime talk show The Ginny Jones Show. It was a trip of firsts. One of the first times I left my home state of Florida, my first trip to Chicago, and my first time in the North at all. It was the first time I rode in a limo when they picked us up and dropped us off at our hotel. At that hotel, on the morning before we headed to the studio for filming, I got to order my first pay-per-view movie, the remake of The Mummy with Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. At the studio, it was my first experience in a green room. It was my first time in the public eye, my first time out front, and my first time claiming publicly my intention to lead white nationalism into its next generation. The experience was genuinely fun. It was also terrifying, and it taught me terrible lessons. The Ginny Jones Show was a nationally syndicated daytime talk show filmed in the same studios in the NBC Tower in Chicago as its rival, The Jerry Springer Show. Ginny and Jerry, and Geraldo and Maury and others like them, often brought on unsophisticated guests to face a shouting and brawling live audience, to great commercial success. The Jerry Springer Show, by far the leader of the genre, ended that season with ratings just behind Oprah. The episode they invited me and my dad for was titled Hateful Websites on the Internet and ran on October 4th, 1999. Several years before, David Duke, my dad's oldest friend, had negotiated to appear on the Jerry Springer Show in a one-on-one interview, away from the jeering audience. Thanks to that negotiation, David was able to speak to Springer's huge viewership without having to face the demeaning taunts of the studio audience. For my first interview, my dad negotiated something similar, allowing me to give a one-on-one interview offstage. In addition, the producers also offered to pay for a trip to Disney Quest, the virtual reality amusement park that had recently opened downtown. My dad asked me over and over, even up to the day of filming, if I was sure I wanted to give the interview. I felt listened to and respected, and I felt like I was fully consenting to my participation. I believed in the cause, as much as a curious child can believe in any ideology, and I was excited to begin advancing it myself. A month earlier, I had created a kids page on Stormfront, the website my dad had founded. I had already seen reporters coming to the house to interview my dad, and I'd become familiar with the hostile way they wrote about us as hateful. When we arrived at the set, my dad went out with the other guests, including other white power leaders and two daughters of Fred Phelps, the founder of the Westboro Baptist Church, a group known for picketing the funerals of soldiers and queer people. The studio was built in the middle of a large open room, so the crew, the guests who hadn't gone on yet, the kids of the Westboro family, and I could stay in the green room or walk all...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?